Welcome everyone to the next episode of the first season of the FIP Chief Executive Officer interviews. Today I am welcoming Taghreed Shunnar to the interview chair. Thank you so much, Taghreed, for making time for us in your busy agenda, especially during these strange COVID-19 times we're living in. I wanted to welcome you to our first season of the FIP CEO interviews. You will know we're running 10 such interviews in this season with global leaders and colleagues in pharmacy and healthcare, where we seek to explore your journey, your experiences, and the impact of your experiences on your professional practice. I was inspired to start these discussions after FIP President Dominique Jourdan and myself were having a discussion with Professor Trevor Jones around the development of a vaccine and treatments for COVID-19. Trevor walked us through his experiences with AZT in the 80s and 90s and how invaluable those lessons have been for now. Not only was Trevor so open about what had gone well, he also told us what hadn't quite gone to plan. And this made me reflect on how important it is for our pharmacy leaders to be able to share such insights, such experiences when things go well and when they don't quite go to plan and what we learn. So, Taghreed, welcome. I'm proud to interview you today.
Thank you very much, Catherine, and I'm very happy to be part of this initiative, which is a great one, I believe.
Well, it's wonderful to have you. We aim to take about 30 minutes of your time, but Taghreed, I think we need to get to the very beginning. I note from your biography and some research that you are Jordanian. I know that you did a BS.C at Jordan University and then an executive master's in business administration in around 2006. Then in 2010 and 11, consulting and coaching for change, and your current role is founder and CEO, Professional Effective Solutions, and corporate vice president of branded pharmaceuticals. But before we get to your amazing CV, Taghreed, can you tell us a little bit about your childhood and where your inspirations for choosing your career came from?
Yes, I was born and raised in Jordan to a loving and caring Palestinian family. As you may know, Jordan is a small country in the Middle East with a very limited natural resources. Therefore, we learned as we grew up the ultimate importance of hard and quality work and the need to really excel to contribute to the growth of ourselves and our country. So this learning and also working hard, these are the things and the values that we Jordanians, we believe in these values. I was inspired by my dad. My late father was my biggest inspiration. He was a very responsible person who he was always willing to help people around him. I think this is why I always wanted a career that would give me the opportunity to interact with people and to make a difference in their lives. Hence, I chose pharmacy because I believe pharmacy and being a pharmacist, pharmacy combines the humanitarian element with science. And this was something that fascinated me and really it's very close to my heart.
Well, close to my heart too. We are definitely joined up. So lovely that you shared your inspiration being your dad, and it really does play into your heart, doesn't it, when you have someone so close to you pushing you forward every day. What a lovely way, Taghreed, to say that pharmacy combines the humanitarian side with the science, allows us to be smart but caring, I think.
That's very
okay,
true.
So let's, it's true, isn't it? It's true. It would take me the entire interview for us to get through your career's achievements. So I'm going to quickly navigate our way and then we'll talk it through. I see you hold a BS.C in Pharmaceutical Sciences and 2 master degrees from the INSEAD Business School. You held the VP position for the Middle East region in the pharmaceutical industry, overseeing 17 countries. And at that point, you decided to change direction. And in 2011, you founded Professional Effective Solutions, a company that offers consultation to pharmaceutical companies in formulating effective business plans. During the first position, the first year in that, you also held the position of Strategic Healthcare Advisor at the First Energy Bank in Abu Dhabi. Now, Taghreed, that looks like an incredibly successful highly achieving CV. But you and I both know many lessons we learn along the way don't just come from our successes. What would you say are the 3 biggest lessons of your career today?
Well, I believe that we learn as we go, and we continuously learn from our experiences and interactions. So my biggest lessons that I learned through my career, working in the Middle East, we work across 17 countries. It's a very diverse region. And I learned that to understand the culture and the different work standards and to embrace these differences, it helps a lot in the way you do business, the way you communicate with the people, and the way you really, even the governments, regulatory bodies, etc. So it's very, very important for me. And it was a big lesson that I need to understand different cultures, and I need to understand different business standards and how people do different, do business in their own way. And this enabled me to communicate better, to engage with the communities, the governments, the regulatory bodies, etc., and to achieve our goals as a person and as a company. The other lesson that I learned that you really need to genuinely care. If you genuinely care for the stakeholders, then you would achieve happily. Because if you care for your team and you align your targets with their targets, then both, it will be a win-win situation. For your team, for yourself. I used to also align our objectives as a corporate with also the country. So in certain countries, we established pharmaceutical companies. We trained pharmacists from the region, from that country, on quality control and regulatory, etc. So we elevated also the knowledge and experience of the young pharmacists and scientists in that country. So I believe if you genuinely care for those who you work with, I believe it's such a rewarding outcome where you achieve really happily, because you can also push people to achieve and help them to achieve their goals, and while you also achieve your own objectives. So this was my second lesson. The third lesson that I learned is that sometimes, no matter how hard and how you put a very big effort and you work really hard, but sometimes things do not work. And sometimes people, you get frustrated, but then I managed to train myself that, okay, sometimes things may not work. So just learn what went wrong, what went right, and learn from this experience and move on. So your flaws or your mistakes should really give you the strength to move on and to build on these experiences and make you stronger in your career.
So good. Yeah, that's such good advice there, Taghreed. I love the fact that care word comes out again. You mentioned right at the beginning, you loved pharmacy because it combines humanitarian and science, and then you have the genuinely care for stakeholders. I couldn't agree more. I think authentic involvement in your career really shines through, and it helps you through the really tired days. Those days where you're feeling a little bit flat about things. If you really care about your role and your job and your career and the people that you work with, you can allow that to flow in, can't you? And this thing about learning from the mistakes, the flaws give you strength. I'm sorry, Taghreed, I'm taking that one. That one's going to be one of my sayings after today, I'm afraid. And then you have this thing about elevation and training from the region, which I think is really important, really, really important. Where we come from really defines who we are. That doesn't limit who we are, does it? It gives us the wings to really fly. Being Jordanian sounds very important to you.
Yes, that's very true. Yes, of course, because I believe we have a duty to our country and to our fellow citizens, and this is the most important. Yeah. Yes, as they say, charity starts at home. So I think good doing starts at home. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get on to some of these things, but we can see that at the moment, can't we, in all our communities and societies in the
Exactly.
COVID-19, we
That's
see
very true.
such good behaviours, and we also unfortunately see some that are less good. It has to be said.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lovely, thank you. Taghreed, let's move on then.
Sure.
You have got a lot of experience being an external advisor, being regarded as an expert and a leader. You've had an instrumental role in the dramatic growth and success of Hikma in the MENA
Mm-hmm.
region. You're an
Mm-hmm.
important member of the Hikma IPO team, and you've
Sure.
taken it through a process of transformation. It's a recognised public company listed on the London Stock Exchange in 2005,
Mm-hmm.
for example. You know, we don't
Sure.
see many pharmacists moving into the businessy side of things like you. So I think this is a very good story. And besides your consultancy, you sit on the board of other pharmaceutical companies in Jordan, Switzerland, Tunisia, the UAE, again as an expert. Now, we know what we list in our CV, Taghreed, is the tip of
Mm-hmm.
the iceberg.
Yeah.
You,
Sure.
for you, what are your 3 biggest achievements?
I believe my first biggest achievement that I had an instrumental role in licensing in innovative and life-saving products, which, of course, the research in the Arab world is very limited, unfortunately, and to get in these products and to make it available to people who needs it the most, it's very, very important. And I think this is one of my biggest achievements. And an example of that is tacrolimus. And I feel proud that we managed to license this product and to have to make it available for our physicians and our patients. The second thing that I believe was one of my biggest achievements is, as you mentioned, I was a member of Hikma IPO team, and this was transformational, not only for Hikma, and it took Hikma from being a regional pharma company into an international pharmaceutical company, but just to make it as an example and something to aspire to do for other pharma companies in the region and other companies in different sectors. So now whenever we sit in the region, everybody wants to be like Hikma. They want to list on London Stock Exchange. They want to be internationally recognized. And this is very, very important. And this makes me really proud that I was part of that team. The third thing that I am proud of is like, this, in spite of like I have 2 kids. I had a very demanding job, and yet I always believed in continuous learning, continuous personal development, because if I improve my knowledge and experience, this will reflect on myself and also on others that work and deal with me. And I'm proud that I managed to get these 2 executive master degrees, and I'm happy also that I did the connection with executives from all over the world. So I would say these are the 3 main achievements that I'm really proud of.
I'm laughing because that 3 main achievements, you've just tapped into so much there. There's really this amazing focus that you have on the licensing of a product that really helped physicians and patients. So that caring theme comes out again, Taghreed. And then you've got the example of an inspiration in all sectors, the Hikma IPO team. It really shows that if you do the right thing, very often people want to copy and use you as a role model, and that's really important to you as well. And then your 2 kids, demanding job and continuous learning with all your degrees. And I'm laughing because for most people, that third one would be 3 on its own, I can tell you. But then you have these 2 other really big innovations. And I'm sure that you didn't, when you wrote them out or you thought about them before we chatted, you didn't really think you've got a definite focus on the patient, even though your role may not be patient facing. And I want to just explore that with you. And then there's this thing about leadership and taking that big, big step. So when I talk to young pharmacists or young pharmaceutical scientists, particularly young pharmacists, they often think they have to be doing patient-facing roles to be patient centered. And I just think your CV shows us you don't. You can still be patient facing if you're thinking about licensing and access to medicines. Taghreed, would you agree?
I totally agree. I mean, you can really, you can help and you can provide medicine and you can have a cause, even like if you are in sales, if you are in licensing, and if you are in business development, because it depends on how you think about it. And if you really always put the patient and the doctor in your like. This is what you believe in. This is the ultimate end user of what we do. Because even if you license a product, at the end, who is going to use it? Who is going to benefit out of it? So it's always we need to believe what is your added value? Who is going to benefit out of what you are doing? And I think this is important because everybody has a role and we complement each other. But the ultimate objective is really, it should be the cause that we are working for. And it's always, for me, it's meaning. I mean, we have a job that I love, I enjoy, and it has a meaning. And this is very, very important for me and for everybody. And you don't need to be like a community pharmacist to serve patients. You can be in any part of this cycle, yet you as long as you have this objective and this motive, you can do it.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I hear a lot from different sectors in our profession. You know, I'm only a community pharmacist, and actually the role that the community pharmacist has is second to none. Look at what's happened in the COVID pandemic. Globally, this has been the access point for all patients. But on the other hand, if you're working in education or in science or in industry, you too have an important role. Where would we be at the moment if we didn't have the medicine supply chain working for us? It's really interesting, isn't it? Looking at our profession during the time we're in now and during the lens of COVID, it's really offering me a renewed sense of purpose and drive, Taghreed. I really see the fact that pharmacy needs to be empowered, enabled and supported across all our countries to benefit patients and the public, not to benefit us, to benefit patients and the public. It's very important. Would you say?
I totally agree, and I believe that also pharmacists is like people. It's you approachable. Like you walk in, you can talk, you can discuss, and you are at ease. And part of it, I mean, you build this connection. And in Jordan, because it's a small country, pharmacists, like we walk in, it's like he's like a comfort zone. They give us the comfort, the security feeling, because they care. They give you like a good advice. So it's very important, and I think that the role that the pharmacist and community pharmacists they do, it's extremely important, and it has a great value.
Yeah, and we may not be the noisiest profession, but definitely we need to shout that from the rooftops. Now, Taghreed, I'm going to move us on to the next question, but
sure.
I know that you are proud of your achievements. One is proud of their achievements, but this question doesn't necessarily have to relate to work at all either. And it's your 3 things you're most proud of. When you look at them, you're thinking, yeah, you know, these are things that really, really have a place in my heart around my pride. And it doesn't mean you have to be responsible for them, because sometimes we can be embarrassed of that. But what are you proud of?
I believe the biggest thing that I am proud of is like I positively influenced young women in the Arab world, because you know, despite the tradition and the culture constraints that we have in our region, I managed to reach like a senior position in a male-dominated field. I started with sales and marketing, and this was male-dominating, and then I grew in my career until I reached a very high position in one of the largest pharma companies in the region. So I think it's good. I'm proud to be a role model, and this is why this is important, because if you believe, if you have the confidence, the right competency, and the willingness, you can do it. And this is something that I'm proud of.
Well, I'm proud of you. I think that's
Thank
amazing.
You so much.
I think this
Thank
starts starts back from, you know, your biggest inspiration being your dad. I think when we have positive male role models in our lives as women, we haven't had that barrier put up right from the start. There are barriers, but there are barriers to men as well. And, you know, we should really be proud of that. So Taghreed, I recently did one of these interviews with Dr. Carmen Pena, who is the first female president of FIP, and I'm the first female CEO of FIP. And I don't in any way view these interviews as, you know, being feminist, if you like. I think it's being equalist is important, but it's so interesting to me that you say you're most proud of your role as influencing women in the Arab world. It couldn't be better. What would you say would be your dad's lesson to you about that? If he was looking down on you now, what would he be saying?
I would say that he would say it's, I'm sure he would be proud, but also he would say, like, be humble, always continue to help others, always try to give the best that you can do to help others also reach where you have reached. Because I think, and this is what I'm doing, I'm always like mentoring and helping young entrepreneurs in the pharma and other sectors to also help them to really achieve their goals and reach their dreams, achieve it and reach their goals. So I think he will be happy, and he will always tell me to continue to what I'm doing or what I've done.
Yeah, he's telling you it's not done yet. You're not done yet. No, there's more. But it's nice. Please, you know, give me a rest. No, it's lovely, and it's lovely that you can use that. He would be proud of you being proud of yourself being a role model. It's that thread, isn't it? There, I think that's really important, Taghreed. I'm writing lots of this down for my own notes. Now, this goes very, very smoothly into the next question that we have.
Sure.
I mentioned at the start how important it is, Taghreed, that we share our experiences of where things have gone really well and where they've gone less well and what we can learn from them. What would be the 3 top tips to the next generation in our profession?
The first one I would say that be ambitious yet patient, because I see young people, they want to do things like in seconds or in minutes. So I think, no, you should be ambitious and you should work hard and you should always try to improve, but you should realize that you need time to have experience and to work hard and to be disciplined, because all these things will help you reach your goals. I think this is number 1 advice. The second thing is that continuous learning and developing your skills and knowledge. This is extremely important, and having a good mentor, because my mentor at Hikma was instrumental in my career achievement and development, because these mentors, they will give you the guidance, the good advice, that will also help you improve and continue to grow in your career, and also as a person, your emotional intelligence and all these things. So this is also another good advice from myself, I think. The third thing is that be persistent, because you will always find hurdles. You will always need to look for solutions. Things do not we don't have paved roads all the time. So sometimes we are faced with hurdles. We are faced with certain issues that we need to overcome. What we have to be persistent. This is a part of gaining experience, being stronger, and achieving with confidence and with competence.
Such good phrase there. I love that we're not on paved roads, and especially if you're doing something new, maybe you haven't done it before, you have to use that analogy in your head. That's a really, really good good piece of advice there, Taghreed. I love the way that you practice what you preach the whole way through. You mentioned in the previous question about proud to be a role model and helping and supporting young women, young entrepreneurs. And then your second one there is get a good mentor. It is so important, isn't it? Someone who cares about you but isn't emotionally invested in you, so that they give you objective advice and say, maybe that wasn't so good. What could you learn from that? Is really good. Yeah. Sometimes if something's gone wrong, tough love. It's what you need. It's what you need.
Yes.
Then there's the ambitious yet patient. Like a bit of slow cooking in our lives is not a bad thing, is it?
Yeah, I agree. Especially nowadays, it's important. Because for young people,
we can all feel we have.
Yes.
Everything's super quick, isn't it? It is, but we can all feel during this this COVID time that we've all had to do a little bit of slowing down, and it has been a lesson. I'm sure. Have you learned that as well?
Of course, it was a big learning experience because I slowed down. The pace was much slower. And then I thought, okay, this is something new. Let me see how can I benefit? What should I learn? And I think it was a very learning experience. For sure, it was really good because I think we were moving at a very, very fast pace and putting pressure on ourselves and those who are around us. And I think it was a good experience.
There has to be something that comes out of this, doesn't there, that leaves us in a better place. For it to be worth it. And that's really good because we're on our last question now, Taghreed, and to end our interview and get even more insights into your tips and tricks, and boy, have I got some. Let me tell you, you've taught me a lot. We've all had to change our habits. What have been your 3 essentials in your working life during COVID?
The first thing was the physical exercise. So I had to exercise or work out on daily basis, because I think first, if you have like a good physical fitness, it makes you think better and it helps you be like more active and more positive. And for me, it's like relaxing, unwinding time. So this was very important for me. The second thing that I made sure to do is to call my team and to always discuss the things and to keep them like motivated in these tough times. The third thing that I started to learn a new language, because I think learning keeps you excited and stimulated, and you always are hopeful. When would be the time that you can put this to use? And keeps you going. So this was also one more thing that I did during COVID lockdown.
So you're continuously learning, Taghreed. You're practicing what you preach there, aren't you? And then keeping your team motivated. Do you think there's something about when you lead a team, you yourself need motivating? I find this very much. So by being in touch with your team, while you're ticking a box and saying, yep, I'm keeping them informed, I'm keeping them motivated, we're working closely together, it actually gives you energy as well. So it's a win-win.
That's very true, of course, because to interact and also to see what are their concerns. Also, you share your concern, because at the end of the day, even if you are a leader, you have your own. We are at the end the human beings. We have our concerns, we have our also frustrations. But at the end, when you share, when you interact, you come to a point where you see, oh, we all have the same concerns. It's international, it's global. So things will be better if we put our efforts together, if we help each other, if we support each other. So I think this is very important for me. And we share this as humans. Yeah,
we do very much. And I think this from this interview, Taghreed, I have to thank you so much. I'm seeing and I'm hearing a woman who is really, really a hard worker who wants to contribute. You're always talking about community, your country, your fellow citizens. And I think that extends to your team really well. You do practice what you preach all the time. That's what I'm seeing all the time throughout your and super humble, always wanting to help others. So a real role model, I have to say, Taghreed. I'm so honoured and proud to have been part of this chat this morning. And I just wonder, maybe we can mentor each other along the way in the coming months and years, because it's always lovely to meet someone like yourself. Really,
Thank
really
you
lovely.
very much. I'll be honored.
What are your reflections?
No, I think it is,
Yeah.
first, it's a very good initiative, because also, like, we all need, in these difficult times, we need the support of each other. We need to learn from each others, and also we need to connect, because this COVID pandemic showed us that we are all at, we face the same difficulties, we face the same challenges, and we need to be united, and we need to join efforts and forces so that we can combat these difficulties that we face. And this is very important, I guess. This
is super important. Taghreed, thank you so much for those closing words. Today it's been such a pleasure and honour. Wonderful to speak with you. Take care and be safe.
You too. Thank you very much. You too. Hope to see you in person. Thank you so much.
Same here. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you.